What's up, guys? Long awaited, my favorite trick ever, and we have a tutorial. That's it right there. I'm sure you guys have seen it a million times. The choker fan, and that's it. So yeah, that's the trick, and it's a very cool trick. Let me give you a look of what it looks like at a different angle, which would be right here. And this is one of those tricks that actually looks really good. Shoot. This is one of those tricks that actually looks really good from a perspective like outside. Like tricks like behind the eight ball do not look good from the outside perspective. But yeah, so I actually am not going to teach you the trick with this. I'm going to teach you the trick with this. And if you'll notice, there's a color for every single corner of the knife. And that's going to serve a pretty essential purpose for us because we're going to use that to our advantage to see what handles are being used at what time or what parts. And this will help you get a better idea, because I remember watching a lot of these tutorials online. I often see that people are, it's very confusing because you can't see what side of the handle they're talking about when they're saying, oh, well, you're going to want to put your finger on this one and twist this one and do that one. So we're going to be using this today to help you learn the trick. And I would say this can be broken down into essentially about 4 parts. One of which I'm not going to be teaching you today, which is how to finish off the trick. There's tons of ways that you can do it. I have videos up on how to do that and how to finish off the trick. But to me, that's more of like a preference thing if you wanted to do that. So with that being said, we're going to get right into the first part, and that's the setup for the trick. This setup is probably the most underrated thing that people don't really talk about. And not necessarily the specific type of setup that you use, but just the importance of the setup overall. And so what we're going to do for this tutorial is the double rollout. And so all that looks like is just like this. You do one, you see that handle out, and this handle, once it gets to this point where it's perpendicular to the blade, you're going to let it fall and twist it around. So see, like that, almost like you would be doing like one of these type of fans. So flick it out, let it fall, turn it around, and here you're in this position. So think about doing 2 circles with your wrist while having a super loose grip on the safe handle. 1, 2. All right, there you are. So this is the starting position for the trick. And what you're going to want to do is you want to position your middle finger and your thumb on the knife like so. And so as you can see, one part is here and one part is here. So one is on the pink and one is on the purple. And so when you're in this position, it's important to note that these 2 pieces right here that are swinging around, these are the most important thing in getting this choker fan started. Where they go and what they do determines the trick. So like, let's say you do your double rollout and you're here. You can actually roll out the choker fan from this position right here. Just easy as pie, see? So it's all about getting this starting momentum. Now you can either do it like this by throwing it out that way, or you can do it by turning it and letting it drop. But either way, once you get that start, that's what's gonna get the trick going. And so you just wanna be mindful of doing that. And so what I like to do is, no matter if I'm doing it with a fan or whatever, I like to get when the weight falls, I put my pointer finger on the bottom here to help hold it, and then I can position my fingers where I want to position them. So this pointer finger is holding the knife steady. As you can see, it requires very little weight in order for me to keep this down now, and I can position my fingers where they need to be. And so what you want to make sure is that the blue side, which would be the back of the handle right here, or the one that would be facing right here, see the blue side right there? You want to make sure the blue side is pointing upwards. And as that's pointing upwards, you're going to kind of take your thumb and your middle finger and put them flat almost on these positions here. And you're going to turn this out, right? So once you turn it out, you have a very limited window of opportunity of where you're going to get this choker fan going perfectly. So the momentum has to carry through. This trick is so much about momentum. And I'll explain that kind of further on down the line. But the momentum has to absolutely carry through in order for you to do the trick correctly. See that? So when it starts and it flicks out like this, you need to be ready to go. And one of the best indicators is that you'll feel the weight at some point when you flick it out. The weight will start to come towards this thumb. So you're almost turning your wrist over, right? You turn your wrist over, and as soon as you feel the weight, because you'll have all your fingers here, right? This, right? These are the main players in the game, and also this one a little bit later. But as you throw it out, you'll start to feel the weight shift from your thumb onto this finger right here. And when that point happens, that's when you know it's go time. So when you feel the weight as it's turning get onto your middle finger, which is on the purple at the moment, when you feel that happen, you know it's time to roll, right? So boom, right? And so when you get to that point, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to twist the knife between your fingers, between your thumb and your pointer finger. And all you're really thinking about doing is pushing this knife, this handle, into your thumb, almost like this. So it would be like if you had your hand like this and you're pushing your thumb along your middle finger. And so if it's in between, you just kind of letting it rotate. Almost like the way that you would, what type of motion would you do that with? I don't know. It's a pretty simple thing to understand. I mean, really. So you're just pushing it, right? And what a lot of people don't know is that, oh shit. A lot of people don't know is to hold on to your knife so it doesn't fall on your feet. But what a lot of people don't know is that this little rotation is not that big of a rotation. So what you're gonna do is do 1, 2, right? So 1, 2. When you get to the point to where your middle finger is now, you've pushed it to the point to where this back part, which is the back part of the knife, which is yellow, is on it. That's when you're going to want to bring in this other finger. So real quick, if you're here, you start with this point on this pink, right? You start with your middle finger on the pink. When it gets to, I just messed myself up. When it gets to the yellow, right? Which is just a simple couple of rotations. It's 1, 2, right? Once it gets there, that's whenever this finger gets involved. So as you're rotating it, you're going to want to rotate it. And when it gets here, notice how the knife is pointing up and down. You want to have a loose grip and you want to let the weight of the knife fall, because as you're doing this trick, obviously right now you can't see it because the momentum is not there, which, like I said, the momentum has to carry through for the trick to look good. But as you're doing this, it's not going to be up and down like this. It's going to be making a little T, and it's going to be fanning underneath your hand. So let me see if I can show you what that would look like. See that? How it's fanning underneath? So, like I said, get to the point where you're in the yellow, right? And as the knife is falling loosely, you get this finger and you put it underneath. And now a lot of people like to say that this part of the trick is hard. It's not hard. What you just have to be mindful, right? And what I would always do to practice is just keep it like this and just do the rotation in my finger. See? Just do the rotation naturally. Just do the rotations. Don't even worry about what the blade's doing, because it's two separate things. It's your fingers managing the rotation, and then it's you managing the momentum. So you're using your fingers to modulate the momentum, but the momentum it's only there for a finite amount of time between each transition you have. So if you're not doing it perfectly, it's not going to transition right. But anyways, so quick review. We start over the purple. We got our middle finger on the pink, this finger on the purple, thumb on the purple. Oh, what the hell? Did this thing just twist in my thing? Okay, sorry, wrong. Thumb on the pink, middle finger on the purple. I'm so sorry. And the knife is pointing down like this. We're going to shift it over. When the weight transfers over to this finger, right? When we feel that, that's when we start the rotation, right? Maybe a little bit earlier to get a really good push on it, but somewhere around that realm. So we turn it over. We're twisting. We want to get to the point to where our middle finger is on this yellow part right here, right? And that would be just kind of having the knife like this. When you get to that point, it only makes sense for you to bring this finger in. And I would work on the strength right here, just kind of holding it like this. So when you get to that point, rotate one time. And what a lot of people don't know is that as you're doing this, the turn that you do of your wrist helps it keep rotating. So don't focus so much on using these two fingers to turn it. Just focus on turning your wrist, right? Because that'll naturally help it happen. And so from the point that we were at earlier, where we finish off here, and we got one on the yellow on top, we're gonna have almost one more full rotation. So by the time we finish off, we're on the yellow again with this finger. And so as it's here, put this finger, rotate, see how you're twisting? Same thing. So how the thumb was pushing on the middle finger earlier, now you have this finger right here, your ring finger, pushing on the middle finger. See that? But it's going the opposite way. See? And you finish off here. And so, man, I'm trying to figure out ways to kind of like explain things that I haven't really seen in other tutorials. But one thing I remember seeing in Ballybug's tutorial that was really helpful is like, if you, like I was saying, that start position where you flick it out, if you really flick it out, like really just toss it out there and just be ready to let it take your fingers, that's going to help you a lot, because it's essentially just going to do the motion for you. So once you know what to do with your fingers, you're pretty much going to, like, when you throw it out, you're going to feel that. But there's also a lot of opportunities throughout this trick to lose energy or lose the momentum. And the reason why is because, let's say you're rotating, right? And these two are going to make a T. These two handles are going to make a T, and they're going to spin around, right? But if you are not doing the right motions, the energy will escape through this part of the handle. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to use that part of the handle to guide where the energy goes. But if you mess up along the way, it'll totally derail the trick. So sometimes you could be doing really well, and then say you could just lose it, right? That doesn't mean that you don't know the trick. It just means that you had a point where you lost the momentum. And so what I would recommend doing is, like, if you ever mess up on some point of the trick, just look at it and see where you messed up so that you can understand what part is causing you to mess up. And for most people, it's in this little transition here, right? So that little transition, talk about it a little bit more, and then I would say we're wrapped up on this tutorial. So you get here, you're right here, yellow's pointing up. You're going to take this finger, grab this part. So now your ring finger is on the blue. See the blue? And you're going to do a little turn of the wrist, and you're going to turn your wrist at the same time while you are essentially rotating this handle inward. And it's hard to do without the momentum, because it naturally wants to go. So what I would say is, like, instead of focusing on using these fingers to twist it, because these two fingers are that strong to where you can just twist the hell out of it. It already needs the momentum. The momentum is what's going to twist it for you. So don't focus on using these fingers and really just torquing it. Focus on letting the momentum carry throughout your fingers. So see, like that. And that's why I say that you need to focus on the wrist a lot, because the wrist, see that? The wrist is going to be able to help the momentum along a lot better than these two fingers are. So as you're doing the trick, when you get to that point where you're going to transition right here, you want to get that finger there. And as soon as that finger gets there, help it rotate with your wrist, and then focus on twisting these two fingers. And you'll eventually get to the point to where you're finishing it off here and there and wherever, and you'll eventually just hone it down to where you always land in this position right here. And this is the best position for carrying it on to other areas. And that's kind of going to conclude where I'm at, because I have videos on how to finish off the choker fan. But sorry if this tutorial was a little bit long-winded, guys. I just wanted to really, really get down and technical about it, because I know a lot of channels have not really been like explaining it super in a way that I would like to explain it. So let me know if any of the tips helped, and this is pretty much my tutorial. This tutorial is not necessarily for somebody who has never ever seen a tutorial before. It's more so for people that have seen a tutorial and still are like, well, what the hell, I can't get this shit down. But you could also probably learn it from this tutorial itself. So let me know if that helped. It's been a long time awaited, and this is my favorite trick of all time, so I would like to do it justice. So let me know down in the comments how I did. And other than that, guys, have a good day. Peace.